Hey, this is Farmer Teacher. We're on Farming Simulator 22, and I want to talk to you real quick about weeds today. Weeds, not the kind you might grow. This is the kind that interferes with your farm. So I've had some questions about this. What do I do with weeds? How do I get rid of them? Now, when you start your map, I recommend you don't have these things turned on. So if you go to this part of the menu, right here where it says weeds, right under lime and fieldstone and all that, I have it on for this demonstration. And a lot of my farms, once I get them established, I'll turn it on. When I first start out, I may not have that on along with plowing and lime because I don't have the equipment yet. But anyway, if you have that turned on, you have to deal with the weeds, and it will interfere with your crop production if you don't. So this thing here is a weeder. It's a weeder. So if you go to the menu where you would buy one of these, okay, where it says weeders, the category weeders includes both weeders, as you see here, and the one over from it to the right is hose, and there's a difference. Weeders, well, they both have to be used the first stage of growth. So, you plant something this month, next month it turns green, that's when you use the weeder, okay? If it's beyond that, you have to use herbicide. So, and I use both, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. So right now we have this weeder and this hoe. Hose you have to use for potatoes. Potatoes, a weeder will not work. Okay, we're gonna demonstrate that. You also might want a sprayer. All right, here's a sprayer. We have this small one here to show you, and it does either fertilizer or herbicide, and the one we have has herbicide in it. So I have a couple of fields here. This one is plowed, and there's a difference. This one is harvested or cultivated, and that one over there is cultivated too. And I'm going to show you how we do the things differently on here. So what we're going to do, my first step, once they're cultivated, you have to go through, what I like to do is go through and spray herbicide on it. And that keeps weeds from coming up on the first stage of growth. If you get a large farm too and you have a large sprayer, your sprayer can do that a lot faster than you can with a weeder. So I like doing that. Now my field that is plowed, I do not have to worry about weeds at the first planting stage, because if you plow it under, that kills all the weeds for the first stage of growth. Not later. You're going to have to contend with that later, but not the first stage of growth. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to spray herbicide in this field, not in the plowed field and not in my other field, so you can see the difference. So we'll be right back here in a second. Hey, we're back. It is now September. So what we did is we planted canola in fields 45, 46, 47, and 48. And in 44, we're gonna plant potatoes, but we can't do that till March. Now, field 46, the reason it looks different there is it was plowed. If you plow the field, then once you plant, no weeds come up. Okay, no weeds come up. All right, let's look at this one. So we cultivated this, not plowed, and now you can see our weeds. Okay. Now over here in this field, I sprayed this with herbicide, and the reason I did is to keep weeds from coming up on this stage, because I'm not planting until March. Okay. So if the field's going to be vacant after you cultivate it, you might want to spray it with herbicide. Okay. You could wait and then use the weeder to pull those out, but if you miss a month, they're going to be too long for the weeder, and you'll have to spray it anyway, and then you got a bunch of dead weeds there. So let me just show you. We're going to hook up this weeder, show you how that works. Okay, these are pretty neat. It goes through, it has to be used on the first growth stage. So I planted last month. That means this month, as soon as it sprouts back up, you have to use the weeder. Get a little overlap here, I don't want to miss any. And then you just run this through there. And it will pull the weeds out. Now it's better to use the weeder, use herbicide before you have anything grown, and then the weeder, because if you have crop damage turned on and you use herbicide, once it starts growing, you're going to take a penalty on your crops. It's also going to damage your crops and reduce your yield. So once again, it's better to use a mechanical weeder once the crops are growing, vice an herbicide if you have crop damage turned on. If you have it turned off, it's not really going to matter. Okay, while that's doing that, let me jump over to my other two fields here. Now both of these have weeds in it, you can see. So I'm going to spray one, probably this one, and then this one I'm not going to do anything to it, just so we can kind of see what happens. Okay, so let me grab my sprayer here. Now notice how that one, when it pulls the weeds out, if you look at this, then they're gone. Weeds are gone. So if you turn on just weeds here, you can see that all these others have weeds, and as that goes through, it takes the weeds out. What I dislike about using the sprayer is it's going to turn them brown instead of getting rid of them completely. Okay, we're going to spray this. Now watch the weeds. They're gone. They're there, but they're dead. So if you look at our map here on that one, notice it's a little different. The weeds aren't completely gone. It shows them as brown as being there, but dead. So it's better to have them gone. So once again, what I like to do, once I cultivate, unless I'm planting, now canola is different because you plant the very next month. So once I cultivate though, what I normally do if there's going to be a month gap or so, is I go ahead and I spray herbicide on the field. You have to do it after you cultivate, because cultivating activates the weeds. So you cultivate, weeds are going to start. Planting also activates them. So that's your two stages of weeds. After you cultivate, after you plant. If you plow, there's no weeds for the first stage until you plant. Now, if you plant right after, like I did with the canola, then there's no weeds because you plowed the field. So that's kind of cool. All right, so I'll show you this one more time, and you'll see that the weeds here are dead, not gone. And we're going to go ahead and spray this, and we will be back. Okay, there's a spray in. You see the map there. See how these are brown, and up top they're gone completely. And the plowed field doesn't have any weeds at all. Okay, we'll be back. Hey, we're now back. It's October. I want to show you this real quick. If you look at our map here, under weeds, the only one with weeds living is field 48 that we didn't do anything to. Field 46 we plowed. We didn't have to do anything. Since we plowed, the weeds don't come back. Field 47, the weeds are there, but they're dead. And 44, we sprayed herbicide in there, so they didn't sprout. Let me just show you this field here. Okay, now we're not rolling it, but you're a 20% penalty for having weeds in there right now. So that's not good. It's 100% fertilized. Now notice it says the weeds medium. You could use a hoe to take some of these out. Remember, we have a weeder and we have a hoe. So if you missed a month and went back, you could use a hoe then without harming your crops. If you spray herbicide on it, like I say, you're gonna damage the crops. So it's better to have a hoe. It's better to have a weeder, a hoe, and a sprayer, all three. When you start out, you may just have a weeder and you just got to be sure you don't miss any. But if you miss this month, the weeder won't take these out. In fact, maybe I'll just show you real quick. Is this the weeder or the hoe? That's the weeder. Let me just show you what happens. So the hoe will do medium weeds, which is 2 months worth. The weeder will only do, so I guess you could just have a hoe, but they don't come as big. So if you had to choose between the two, you could have a hoe because it would act as a weeder. Okay, now it's getting the small ones out, but not the medium weeds. See that? So it's making it better, but it's not fixing it. You can still see weeds in there. Okay, so over here, we got 80%. It helped us a little bit. Took the little ones out. But like I say, they're still going to grow. And the medium, next month they're going to come back. So we'll see that in a minute. So we'll be back next month, see what happens. Okay, we're back. It's now November. All right, look at these weeds. Now where we use the weeder, vice the hoe, it helps some, but you still got weeds growing. It says use a hoe, partial. Over here though, we can no longer use a weeder or a hoe. We have to use herbicide because the weeds are too big. And we're taking quite a hit there. Okay, 75%. So just want to show you that. So we're going to fast forward and we're going to go to March and plant some potatoes. Okay, it's now March. We are planting potatoes. Notice there's no weeds yet. Remember, we sprayed this with herbicide after we cultivated. Two things that activate weeds: cultivating and planting or seeding. Cultivating and planting or seeding. Let me just show you where they're filled here. Notice there's no weeds here because we pulled them all out. Or sprayed it, I'm sorry. We sprayed that one with herbicide. This one, we tried this little stripe right here. Didn't quite work. And then over here, we got quite a bit of weeds. That's about as bad as they get. 25% penalty there, 20%. So that's it. We're going to plant this. So since we're planting potatoes, when we come back next month, there'll be weeds there. Be right back. Okay, we're back. It is April. This is our potato field, and you can see it has small weeds there. It says small weeds, but it tells you to use a hoe. Now what I'm going to try to do is try a weeder just to show you what happens if you use the wrong piece of equipment. I'm pretty sure this is my weeder here. Yeah, that's the weeder. So we're going to go over here. They look similar. I'm going to try to run this and see what it does. Pretending this was all I had or something. Okay, it's running down. It is not pulling the weeds. Look at that. You can still see the weeds. See that? You can still see the weeds. So it just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. So let's get him out of the way. And we're going to try the hoe. So on potatoes, instead of a weeder, on the first growth stage, you need to use a hoe, such as I have here. And it will take the weeds out. You see that? It's pulling them out nicely. You don't see any weeds behind it. And when you look at the map there, you can check it for weeds and they are gone. When I went through it with the weeder, it did not take them out. All right, I got one more thing to show you. Don't run off. I'll be right back. Okay, what I want to show you real quick, we have this field that's rampant with weeds. And right now, you know, you're taking a 20% hit. It's not rolled, but you're taking a 20% hit. So if I go back and spray it now, does it fix that? Let's see. Now crop damage is turned off right now. So we'll see what happens with this pass. Now you can still see the weeds there, but they are dead. So if you look at the thing here, it shows a big brown stripe. It has killed those weeds. Well, let's do the pass all the way down. You can still see the weeds, like I said, but they're dead. Now we're going to go to this side, I guess. We'll get right next to it. We'll make another pass after I turn crop damage on. Now just to hop out here, this is 75%. Okay, didn't help a whole lot. Didn't help a whole lot. Helped a little bit. And I'm guessing we'll go next month and see if it makes any difference. Now I'm going to turn crop damage on. Try a pass here, see what this does. Doesn't want to go to the end of the field. Looks weird. Crop damage just occurred. Like down here. I mean, that one didn't work. Yeah, it didn't. Well, where you back up, it hurts. All right, here we go. See if it made any difference here. 5%. Now, if we go to next month, we'll be back next month. I just want to see if it's going to change. Okay, I went to the next month. It's May. Doesn't matter. It's all 80%. So if you wait that long, you spray your weeds, you'll get 5% of it back, but you still got a 15% penalty. So there you go. So it doesn't help a whole lot. It's better. Just to recap, that's all I got on weeds. Just to recap, 2 weed growth stages after you cultivate, after you plant or seed. if you plow, that first stage you won't have to do. Okay. First stage you won't have to do. If you plow, there's no weeds. And I know it takes longer, but it also kills the weeds. So just remember to look at your map up here where it has weeds, and you can see the stages there of the weeds. That's where I didn't spray up there on the corner of 48 on the top. You can see I got some weeds up there, but so that's it. Give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions or comments or something else you'd like to see. Let me know. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.